Good morning. Happy Friday. Today is June 19th. If you hear dogs in the background, we got a new puppy. They're playing. It's crazy town here. Let's talk about resistance. We often think resistance means we're doing something wrong, that we're not ready, not aligned, or not capable. But resistance usually shows up when we're stretching beyond our comfort zone. It's the mind's natural response to change, even when the change is good. When we learn to see resistance not as a red flag, but as information, we can approach growth with curiosity instead of fear. I think of it as exercise. Your body resists with the signs of pain and discomfort, but if you keep progressing, you will start to see the results. Consistency is key to anything, they say. So, why does resistance show up during growth? Growth challenges the familiar. Even positive change disrupts established patterns, and our brains are wired to prefer what feels predictable. So, when you try something new, setting boundaries, pursuing goals, healing old patterns, resistance kicks in as a protective mechanism. It's not saying stop, it's saying this is different. That difference is often a sign you're on a path worth exploring. For me, changes in my diet, exercise, building more positive habits around the house always tends to bring up the most resistance. I believe this is probably because there are a few things I struggle with internally, mentally, and have for a long time. And when you're trying to make positive changes, it's easy to allow old habits to creep in and sabotage your goals. The same can be for paying off debt, but with the inner mindset work, I'm finding it easier to incorporate positive changes in my life in terms of that. It's important to distinguish between resistance, which often appears when you're growing, and misalignment, which signals something truly isn't right. Resistance feels like discomfort or fear around change. Misalignment feels draining, heavy, or wrong at a deeper level. When you pause and get honest with yourself, you can usually feel the difference. The biggest differentiating element for me is whether something is overwhelming, signaling misalignment, compared to finding excuses which signals resistance. Now, resistance often shows up as procrastination, self doubt, irritability, or a sudden desire to retreat. These signs aren't evidence of failure, they're indicators that you're evolving. Growth is really smooth, it's often marked by internal friction. When you notice these patterns, you can remind yourself this discomfort is part of the process. Some symptoms of resistance that I often experience are overthinking or second guessing myself, procrastination, and irritability. The key isn't to fight resistance, it's to meet it with gentleness. When you slow down, breathe, and stay curious, resistance loosens its grip. You can take small steps, break tasks down, adjust expectations, or just give yourself permission to move at a manageable pace. Working with resistance builds resilience and strengthens your capacity for long term change. One practice that has helped me is to reframe my thoughts and put it down on my calendar. For example, exercise. It is difficult for me. When I start feeling my muscles ache, I want to quit. It is uncomfortable and I resist that change, but my mind has flipped the narrative to this is temporary and my bat wings are disappearing or I'm making my legs stronger. Whatever I'm thinking about, I reframe the pain into something positive that I want to see change. Additionally, I schedule activity on my calendar. The time is allotted to that specific activity and it is a commitment that I must see through. Now, have I made a few changes? Yes, it's storming. I'm not getting in the pool for water aerobics because water aerobics got canceled. We only had 10 minutes left, so I got a good workout in. But because of lightning, I don't want to risk it. Okay, I'm human. I don't want to drive out there and then risk it being canceled. When you look back, though, you'll often notice that the moments filled with the most resistance led to the most meaningful transformation. The very fact that resistance showed up means you were moving, stretching, and evolving. Those moments deserve celebration. Growth isn't always graceful, but it is always powerful. Areas of growth I've seen in the last few months are reduced debt with the focus of paying off debt, increased savings because I've not been dipping it into it to cover expenses, and an overall sense of happiness and calm because I'm scheduling time to take care of me. Again, resistance isn't a sign you're failing, it's often a sign you're exactly where you need to be. When you learn to interpret it as part of growth, you gain confidence in your ability to navigate change. Instead of pulling back, you move forward with awareness and courage. Resistance can be a guide, one that leads you toward a more expanded, empowered version of yourself. Now let's end today with a positive affirmation, and it is, I am worthy of all things wonderful. And it's true. You are, and I am, and we all are. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday, a great Friday, a wonderful weekend, and I'll probably be back tomorrow. Have a good day.